Hi there, it's Liz Shaw here from Shaw Lifestyle, having a look today at abdominal work, how we can work the abs, but trying to look at it in a slightly different way in terms of how we're actually using our abdominals to connect the rib cage to the pelvis. And if you can visualize that, you'll find that it really helps you to work the abs in a much more correct way. Sort of stolen from Pilates type techniques, but we're going to have a little bit of a look at it with some help from Fred to start with. So here's my friend Fred. If you can just have a look at him here, the rib cage and the pelvis, this is what we're talking about. Now, as you can see, there's not much going on between the two, quite a lot in terms of organs, but not a lot going on in terms of bones here. So we're very much reliant on muscular work to connect the ribs with the pelvis. So I want you to really try and focus on the fact that our abdominals, our six-pack literally comes from here and goes straight down to the pubic bone. And then we've got lots of other muscles crisscrossing all our abdominals, this whole area here. And then we're also going to be looking at a very important muscle which starts on these middle vertebrae here. When you think of it as an elastic band that's knotted onto one of these vertebrae here and that passes down diagonally until it attaches onto here. So from here onto my thigh bone, every time I pick my thigh bone up, that muscle is pulling. So there's a direct pull on my spine whenever I do this, which means when I'm running, my vertebrae, my spine is directly connected to every step I take. Now that's really important to remember when we're doing any of our abdominal work. So let's have a look at it in practice. I'll just pop Fred back on here so he can keep an eye on us as we go. So we're going to start off down on the floor on our backs, and I want you to just lie flat and just focus on what's going on here. So at this moment, my pelvis and my ribs are naturally sort of aligned because I've got the floor here. If I pull on my abs to pull them together, I'm going to be rolling up off the floor. So that's a way of really, really working the abs strongly and contracting to a strong degree. So really contracting them to create that movement. Whilst I'm just lying here though, I can still work my abs just by zipping them together, feeling that connection. And that's what we do when we're doing a plank, for example, which we'll look at afterwards. But to start with, we're just going to look, I'm going to ask you to pop your fingers to your temples here. We're going to do a basic curl up. So you're going to peel the head and the shoulders off the floor. They're going to come up. As you do that, you're thinking of pressing the abs down. So it's this connection we're creating again between the rib cage and the pelvis. So connecting those two as we come up. Here we go. Squeezing the abs down into the floor as you come up. And then releasing. And again, squeeze the abs down even though you're coming up and release. So it's that sense of pulling the belly button down into the spine every time you come up. Off we go. Breathing out as you come up and breathe in and breathe out and come in. Let's keep going. We're going for 8 of those. Number 3, really squeeze the abs down. Don't let them bunch up. If they're bunching up, you're not doing the work correctly. You want them flattening down to the floor. Breathe out. 5 and recover. And 6 and recover. Here we go again. And 7 and recover. And 8 and recover. Pop the hands down by the sides. This time I'm going to bring my heels in a little bit closer. We're going to go side to side, reaching fingers to heels. So again, it's my ribs and my pelvis, but it's a sideways bit. I'm crunching my ribs and my pelvis closer together on one side and then the other. Here we go. Reach. 1 and 2. Head just off the floor. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Halfway on 10. Keep going. 11. Keep that tummy squeezing down. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and release back. So that was working the oblique area. Now then, we're going to look at just holding, stabilizing ribs and pelvis together rather than crunching into the movement. To do that, I want you to bring the legs up to a 90-degree angle. First of all, I'm just going to push this thigh slightly away and come in. Slightly away and come in. Slightly away and come in. Now, as I do that, I'm drawing the belly button down into the spine because of that muscle we talked about, which is connecting my thigh bone directly to my vertebrae. So as I do this small movement, if I'm doing it correctly, I'm going to feel my lower back wanting to ping up off the floor because of that muscle. Now, if you're not too happy with the movement, just take a very, very small press away. The thigh is separating from the pelvis, just the tiniest bit to really activate this area. If you're feeling strong and you're used to this sort of work, especially if you've done any Pilates before, you're going to want to take the toes to the floor so that you're really getting that separation, really pressing the thigh away from the pelvis each time. So take it at the level that works for you. Even if you're just doing the tiniest movement, if you're drawing those abs down into the floor, you're getting a lot of work out of it. Here we go. Press away and recover. And 2, recover. And 3, recover. And 4, keep it going. Squeeze down, recover. And 6, recover. That's halfway. 7 and 8, keep it drawing down. Pull down to the floor. And 10 and 11 and 12, and draw those knees in. Okay, we're going to go for all of those again. So curl up first, then into our diagonal reach to our heels, and then finally those toe touches. Here we go. If you're working it correctly, you're going to be really starting to feel this now. Breathing in to prepare. Things to temple, then breathe out. 1, and breathe in. And 2, breathe in as you come down. And 3, to come down. And 4, come down. And 5, and recover. And 6, to recover. Keep squeezing them down as you come up. And 8, recover, down. Last 2, 9, and recover. And 10. Here we go, straight into our side to side. Off we go. 1, 2, 3. Squeeze down. Still squeezing into the tummy here, but you're also crunching into the sides. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and release. So you've been working this mid area here and into the sides as well. Okay, up into tabletop. Knees at a 90-degree angle and settle that pelvis into the floor. Feel the weight of the pelvis sinking down, and then increase that by drawing your belly button down with the strength of your muscles. Here we go. Little movements if you're not sure. And 2. And bit bigger if you're up for it. And 4, all the way to the floor if you're up to that. 5. And 6. Drawing that belly button down every single time. 8. 4 to go. And 9. And 10, and 11, and 12, and drawing the knees in to the chest. Okay, we're going to go one more time with that set, then we're going to look at something a little bit different. So here we go, popping the feet down. First one is curling up. Once again, abs squeezing down to the floor even though you're pulling up. So the fact of you coming up is going to make those abs want to bunch. Don't let that happen. Pop the fingers to the temples and don't pull up with the elbows. That's cheating. We want to be working the abs. So again, connecting rib cage to pelvis. That's where we started this conversation from. Off we go. Breathe out. 1 and 2. Breathe in as you go down. 3 and 4 and 5 and halfway point on 6. And keep squeezing down with those abs. And 8. Keep it squeezing down. And 9. And 10. And 11. And 12. Release and pop the hands down. Just rediscover that center. Still squeezing down here. Straight into our sideways shifts. Fingers to heels. Off we go. 1, 2, 3. Keep it working. You're squeezing the belly button down as you go, and then getting into those side areas as well. 12, 13, 14, 15, squeeze it down. 17, 18, 19, 20, and release. And just take a moment there. Now we're coming up into our tabletop. Here we go, really working this time on just keeping the connection between the pelvis and the ribs. No movement at all. The abdominals are just working to stabilize that position. Here we go. Press away. And 2, really focusing on the thigh, pressing away from the body. And 4 and 5, and 6, keep it going, and press, draw this down, 8, and 9, and 10, and 11, and 12, and draw those knees in towards you. Okay, now then, we're going to up that a little bit by going into 2 legs at a time. Now, if you are not too comfortable with the previous exercise, just keep going. It is more worthwhile to work that at an honest level that you're comfortable with, really working down into this area, than it is to push beyond what you're ready for. So if you're comfortable with what we did previously, stick with that. If you're up for taking it just a little bit further, we're going to try pushing 2 legs away together. This is much, much tougher on the abdominal area because I've now got the weight of both my legs plus gravity pulling directly on this area here. So you must be honest with yourself. Start at 90 degrees and find this area pulling down into the floor. Press the legs away at an angle, that is comfortable but a challenge. So you're pressing away, you're feeling this wanting to give way, you're feeling that middle back wanting to come off the floor, but you know that you're still in control. Now, if you're stronger, you'll take the legs further down and you'll still feel that control. But if not, if you're just starting out, take the legs up here. There is no shame in that. You will build the strength. Breathing away as we push away. Here we go. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out. Nice and high to start with. Take it to the level you need to. 3, and 4, and 5, wherever you're comfortable with, and 6. Feel this lower area anchored down into the ground, and 8, and 9, and 10, last 2, 11, and 12, and just draw those knees into the chest to even out, lengthen out that lower back. Take a moment. Okay, so if you're happy with that, go again, exactly the same thing. If you want to up it a little bit more, I'm going to ask you to take the hands out behind your back. Now, if you just do that, just take the hands to the ceiling, it's quite easy to maintain the same area here. If I take my hands out to the back, my ribs want to pop, so my ribs want to arch up. I'm not going to let that happen because we want to keep that connection that Fred was showing us between the ribs and the pelvis. So as I take my arms out behind me, I'm still softening the ribs down, I'm still maintaining that connection. And here we go, with the legs at 90. If you're comfortable with the previous exercise, repeat it. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to up it a bit, take the arms behind you. Off we go. 1, and softening those ribs down as you go, and drawing the belly button into the floor every time. And 4, and again, take it higher if you need to. Take the legs high. Take them at the angle you need to, that you're in control. Way, and 9, and 10, keeping those ribs soft, still keep this connection. 11, and 12, work it downwards, and draw the knees in. Give yourselves a moment. Okay, now we're going to up it a little bit more, and again, this is up to you. I'm going to ask you to peel the head and shoulders off the floor as well. So we're going to draw the nose in towards the knees, and then we're going to take the legs away. Now, the simplest way is just to bring the hands onto the tummy. Draw in, and then just give yourselves a check that you really are pulling those abdominals down. If you want to take it a little bit farther, you can bring in and combine it with what we did previously. You can take the hands out behind the head to up it a little bit more, okay? So I'll probably do a little bit of all of those just to confuse you. Go with what you feel is best for you. Just give those knees a hug just to get the lower back really stretched out first of all. And then when we're ready, in 3, 2, 1, here we go, knees to nose. In, reach away, draw those abs down, and in, knees to nose. Pull away, and in, press away, and in, to press away. Keep going, in. Take the arms behind you if you wish, and in, to press away. Last 2, in, to press away and in to press away and relax. Whew. Now then, if you've been working that correctly, you'll really feel it in the abs by now. So just once again as a reminder, we're working on connecting ribs to pelvis, just as we looked at on the skeleton at the beginning. And on this particular exercise, we're also working this muscle that starts on my middle vertebra, runs through the middle of my pelvis and actually attaches onto my thigh. And that's why every time that thigh goes away, it's wanting to pull my back off the floor, and I have to work my abs to stop that from happening. That's what this is all about. One last set. Here we go. Knees at 90. Find that lovely 90-degree angle first of all. I'm going to peel the head and shoulders off. Here we go. Up and, whoa, I've gone back to front. One moment, sorry. Let's go again. We're bringing our knees to our nose. In. Draw the hands down to the tummy. And in. Press those abs down. And 3. Pushing down. And 4. To push down. And 5. Take the hand away if you dare. And in. Away. Number 7 coming up. Away. And 8. Suck that tummy down to the floor. 9. Away. 3 to go. And 10. Drawing that tummy down. And 11. And 12. Coming up. Here you go. And draw those toes in towards you and just take a moment there. Okay, so once again, be honest. It is better to find a way to keep going to the end of the set, even if that means taking the legs a little bit higher. If it starts to be too difficult, then alter your angle and take the legs higher as you reach towards the end so that you're keeping going. You're still working the abs, but just putting the strain, reducing the strain a little bit so you can keep going. Okay, we're going to actually just come into our roll down to start with. So I'm going to sit you very, very tall. And from here, we're going to have a punch in the tummy, clunk, and then vertebrae are going to go down one by one, by one by one, by one by one, slowly, 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 slowly. And then at the last minute, I'm going to reach out that line between the pelvis and the vertebrae. So it's about connecting and releasing. So here we go. We're going to draw them together. We're going to zip the rib cage downwards and the pelvis upwards so they meet in the middle. Here we go. Head and shoulders off the floor as you zip together. Reach the fingers along the thighs so that you can come up. I'm still concave. I'm still rounded all the way until the top. Then I draw tall through my spine. Here we go again. Punch in the tummy, clunk, and then down we go, one by one, bit by bit, slowly, 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 one by one, until we reach the ground. Going to come up again. So connecting rib cage and pelvis first. Fingers on the thighs, breathe in. Breathe out, and here we go. Slowly, 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 drawing tall out of the top of the head. Now this time we're just going to round back part way. So clunk into that round concave position. Really, really squeeze into the tummy. And if you're up for it, you can try rolling like a ball. This is a classic Pilates one. So I'm going to pop my hands underneath my knees here. Just going to pop the toes onto the floor. And we're going to roll backwards, maintaining this curved shape. So my bum's going to come off the floor, and my head's not going to reach the floor because I'm curved. So this is what it's going to look like. Up and back and up. The whole time I'm squeezing into that tummy. The tummy is tight, really squeezing because I'm connecting the ribs and the pelvis, that sensation of drawing ribs and pelvis together all the way. 3 to go. 3 and 2 and 1 and sit tall, and let's come out of it. We're going to draw tall through the top of the head, and we're just going to arch backwards a little bit, opening out that chest and recover. So that's the difference between this rounded back where my rib cage and my pelvis, once again, are really connected, drawn together, and then I draw them apart, but with still that sense of connection so that I can get that lovely long line through the top of my head, and then just to ease it all out, I can come back and over the top. Okay, Last way of looking at this, we're going to go into a little plank. So what I will do is we'll just talk through plank and what this connection with Fred is all about when we're in our plank. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a plank challenge if you're up for it, but that's entirely up to you. You can rewind and go back through the other exercises if you wish instead. So in our plank, we want to avoid separating ribs and pelvis. When we're in our plank, it's all about connecting. So it's that rib cage and the pelvic girdle pulling together with the work of my abs and my back muscles supporting that as well. So if we come onto all fours to start with, I can round out my back, which is the equivalent to what I did previously in that rolling like a ball. I can go through a flat back, and I can also arch my back and go up, bum to the skies, head to the skies, chin tilting up. Once again, I can round up and really squeeze, squeeze, squeeze to really connect through the ribs and the pelvis. Or I can do the opposite and arch my back. And what I want is to do somewhere between the two. So this area here is going to zip and connect my ribs and my pelvis once again so that I'm in that flat back position. And in order to go into my plank, what I'm going to ask you to do is you're going to step your hands out in front of you so that they're further forwards than your shoulders. From there, I'm going to push through my bottom onto my hands so that my shoulders are now over the tops of my hands. From there, I'm going to step 1 foot out so that I'm in that true ski slope position. So here we are, my abs are pulling, drawing up against my spine, strong as can be. I'm squeezing in the back of the leg and the bum here, holding on tight. And from there, I'm going to step the other foot out as well. Step, hold, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you can come down again, just come back off the legs. So if you're new to plank or you're just trying to build up to a more correct technique, just take 10 seconds at a time. We do exactly the same thing, stepping out with the left foot first for 10 seconds again. If you're familiar with plank, you can hold whilst I'm talking through it. Then we're going to up it and try all sorts of different ways of playing around with that plank. So here we go. We were on all fours. We're going to step both arms out in front of us. So my arm is on a diagonal now. My bum is going to push forward so that my shoulders are right on top of my hands. And now it's my legs that are on that diagonal line. And that's the beginnings of me finding my ski slope position, which is the correct position for plank. Let's step the left foot out first. Sorry, I said so. Left foot out. And here we go. I've now got that one straight line from my head through my shoulders, the line of my spine into my tailbone and beyond, all the way to my heel. I'm going to step the other foot out with it. And now you've got all the way through from head through neck and shoulders, line of the spine, onto the tailbone, down through the upper leg, lower leg, onto the heel is one straight line. And then let's drop down, just pull back off the wrists. Okay, you can take it like that, which is one ski slope position. Alternatively, you can plank on the elbows, in which case the body is almost parallel to the mat. Whichever you prefer, there are benefits to both. Now then, for those of you who are familiar with plank, let's just play around with it a little bit before we finish. I'm going to show you different variations of plank. I am not hugely in favour of just asking you to hold a plank for 3 minutes. I don't see the point. I think it just creates excess tension. What I would rather do is play around with the line of plank so that I'm keeping that axis if I'm going into a sideways plank, for example, or if I'm doing a walking plank up onto my hands and down onto my elbows. Whatever I may be doing, the line of my spine, head, shoulders through to bum and legs is still remaining like that, and it's rotating, or whatever it's doing, it's dipping, it's still held that way. So I'm a bit like a skewer. No, I'm as if I'm on a skewer. Always think of Greek Easter. I spent many years in Greece, living in Greece, and they have these, they put the meat on the skewer as they cook it at Easter, a bit like that. Not a very nice image. Right, moving swiftly on. So, bit of a plank challenge. Have a go. If you want to watch and become familiar with it first, that's fine. If you're just going to go along with me, give it a go. If you're new to plank, watch and just take it as the challenge that you will build up to. So, let's step out into that plank to start with. Here we go. Out into plank. And I'm going to start off by rotating into my sideways plank. So over I go in one piece. Nothing changes. I'm going to go back the other way. My bum is still pressing down. I'm not shifting my bum in the air. Over we go the other way. Tailbone pressing down to the floor. Back into place again. Tailbone pushing down. Over we go again. Tailbone down. I'm going to dip to the floor, dip down with me, and recover up into plank. Come over into one piece. Let's go the other way. Rotating over in one piece, dip down, and then shift up under the pelvis, up and over you come. Let's go for a leg lift. Keeping the line of the body straight and recover. Other leg. Take it up and recover. Off we go again. All right. Press that leg away, really lengthen it through and recover. And up and recover. Last one, up. Now we're going to walk. We're going down onto the elbow. Down, down, up, up. Again, down, down, up. My bum is not shifting to the air. I'm still pushing down through that tailbone every time. And hold, hold, and hold. I'm going to walk in to my downward dog. I'm going to hold it there, and then I'm going to touch toe. Touch toe, walk out. Touch toe, walk out. Touch your toe, walk out to plank. Beautifully held plank each time in between. Really feel it. In and out and in and out. Last two. In, touch, come out. Find that plank position. In, touch, out, and just hold it there. Find that lovely long plank. Just rock through the heels. You want to check the legs are working. 3, 2, 1, and release back. And let's just release into that child's pose. Whew. Breathing through, allowing that lower back to reach out. And recovering. So, all of those different movements, we're looking at different ways of connecting or disconnecting or overly connecting, if you like, between the ribs and the pelvis. Really, really important and a really helpful way to think of correctly working those abs. Always drawing in so that the deepest set abs are working to pull the abdominal cavity down against the spine to start with, and then everything else can happen safely on top of that. Give it a go. Try it every second day. You'll soon see a difference. See you next time. Bye for now.